morning, everyone. Welcome to your I Learn English Literature live class. Today we are going to do a poem which is given as chapter number 7 in your literature books, Friends and Flatterers. Okay, so this poem is an insightful one. It is written by William Shakespeare. If you remember, you people did a poem by William Shakespeare when you were in class 7. All the words are staged, right? So you already know who William Shakespeare is. He is an English playwright and poet. He's a renowned poet also, and who is considered to be the greatest dramatist of all time. Right? His most notable works include Romeo and Juliet, Julius Caesar, and Hamlet. Right? So this poem is also written by William Shakespeare, and this poem, Friends and Flatterers, it throws light upon the most common part of everybody's life, that is friends. So all of us are surrounded by a myriad of friends. Okay, we have plenty of friends around us, but we fail to understand that who among those people is our true friend in true sense, right? So this poem will help us to build an insight, or it will help us to develop that shrewdness so that we can differentiate between a true friend and a fake friend. Okay, so this will help us to develop alertness within ourselves so that we can stay away from a fake friend, from those who just pretend to be our friends, okay, who are there to satisfy or to fulfill uh, their their selfish needs, and then they abandon us as soon as their purpose gets fulfilled, right? And then we are left emotionally degraded because we get attached, we get connected to those people. We feel that they are our true friends, but then they just use us for their own benefit, right? So William Shakespeare will give some indicators. Okay, he has listed down some indicators which can help us to differentiate between a true friend and a fake friend, right? So before starting with this poem, I want to know what is your definition of friends. Who is a friend? Who can tell? Who is a friend according to you? Yes, son.
Ma'am, according to me, a friend is someone who will tell on our mistakes. But if we have done something wrong, so he will tell us that you have done this. But the flatterer, if we would have done something wrong, he will say that yes, you have done right. Therefore, we
Yes,
have done
absolutely. Good. Yes, Shuk.
A friend is someone who helps us in need. He helps us in times of difficulty.
Yes. So that is also a most striking feature of a friend. So if we look at the title of this poem, it says friends and flatterers. Two words are there. So in order to understand this poem, we have to understand the meaning of these two words, friends and flatterers, right? We are surrounded by friends. Okay, we are surrounded by people. Some of them are our true friends, while the rest of them are just flatterers. They are our fake friends. Fine. So everybody knows who a friend is. The friends are the people with whom we enjoy the most, with whom we can share almost anything and everything. We feel the most comfortable when we are around them. Okay, we can share all our feelings and emotions, whatever we are thinking. So we can be ourselves when we are around with our friends, isn't it? We feel very free when we are with our friends. So they are the ones who encourage us, who are our biggest supporter also. So if somebody speaks against us, so they're the ones who come to defend us, right? And they always support us in all the possible manner. and they also encourage us when we need help, right? When we feel sad or when we feel low, right? So they are the ones who come and cheer us up. So around your friend, you cannot be sad because they will always try their best to make you feel happy. Right. So these are the features of a friend, of a true friend. And one more important thing is that they will always show mirror also. They're always not it's not necessary that your friend will always be in agreement with you. He or she will always agree with you on every point. No, your friend will also disapprove of some of the things. Okay, when you are wrong, your friend will tell where you are mistaken, what mistakes you have committed. Okay, your friend will also tell about your weaknesses so that you can improve your weakness, right? And you just not remain in that false belief that you are perfect at that thing, because everybody is nobody is perfect. Everyone is has some or the other imperfection, isn't it? So your true friend will tell that what are your weaknesses and what are the points where, what all are the areas where you need to improve yourself, right? But a flatterer will never do so. A flatterer will always be sweet with you. He or she will always talk nicely with you, and he or she will always say those things which you will find pleasant to hear, because some or the other selfish motive is hidden behind that flattery. Okay, they do not praise you without any purpose. They have a purpose hidden behind it. Fine. So this is the work of a flatterer. They pretend to be our friends by using pleasant words, by using false phrases, by using fake words, and that land those fake words, they deceive us. They land us in disbelief, in false belief rather. Right? Suppose you are not good at something. Um, for example, you have made a painting, okay, and that painting is not very good. Right? So your true friend will tell that your true friend is your critique also. He or she will tell that this painting is not good. Please don't display it anywhere. Don't show this one to anybody else. Improve this painting, work upon it, and make a better one, and then display it. Right? But a flatterer, he or she doesn't care about whether you will be made fun of or not. So if you show that painting to the one who is just a flatterer, so that person will just try to please you, and he or she will say that yes, this painting is your masterpiece. You have made the best painting of the world. Go show it around to the world, right? So and then people will make fun of you because that painting was not good. Right? So the work of a flatterer is only to please you, so that so that they can get benefited from you. If they have any benefit, if they see that their purpose can be fulfilled by you, so they will always talk sweetly with you, so that you always remain. You always think that this person is very good, and we generally get carried away by those who all the time be nice to us, right? They speak they all the time they praise us, so we get carried away. We think that that person is the best, and that person is our friend. But here we are mistaken. So this is the area where William Shakespeare has thrown light upon, so that all of us can know that who is our true friend, and we are not deceived by the fake ones. Okay, so let's get started with the poem. So let's read the first stanza. You can raise your hands. Yes, Shruti.
Everyone that flatters thee is no friend in misery. Words are easy like the wind, faithful friends are hard to find.
Yes. So everyone that flatters thee means everyone that showers false praise on you. Okay, that everybody who is pleasant with you, who is nice with you all the time, thee means you. Thee is an old-fashioned word which is no longer in use, but it was used during Shakespearean era, and this poem has been written by Shakespeare, so he has naturally used this word. So yes, so this line means that all those who shower false praise on you, indulge you into their sweet talks, okay, be nice to you all the time, speak only those words which are pleasant to listen, okay, they are not your true friend. Why? Because they are the ones who will leave you in the time of distress, in the time of misery. That means in your difficult time, when you face difficult situation, when you are in problem, when you are in trouble, then they are the ones who will be the first one to leave you, who will be the first one to abandon you, and you will find yourself alone in that situation. So all those people who behave in such a manner, the poet is warning us and telling us that if you are surrounded by such kind of people, then you should know that these people are no friend in misery. No friend means you will not find them by your side when you are in your difficult time, when you need them the most, right? Words are easy like the wind means the words are spoken by the flatterers. They are very easy flowing words, freely spoken. They do not have any weight in their words. They are not spoken with sincerity. Like the wind is the simile which is used over here. So why are the words compared with the wind? The words are here compared with the winds because they are as light as the wind, and they keep on changing the direction. Like the wind keeps on changing the direction, changing its direction. So the words of such people also keep on changing. How? Suppose you are the one with whom that person is to get benefited. So as long as that person can use you, he or she will use the good words, or he or she will flatter you, right? And once you are surrounded with problem, that person, that flatterer will leave you and will move on to the next person and use the same flattery on the other person. So they keep on changing the direction. Their words keep on changing the direction. That means they keep on changing people. They are nobody's friend. Okay, they are just selfish people who use one person at a time by using their flattery. Okay, so they are there with you till the time their purpose gets fulfilled, or till the time you end up in trouble, or you land into trouble. So as the two cases can be there, as soon as their purpose gets fulfilled, they will leave you. And another thing is that when you land in problem, again they will leave you alone, right? Faithful friends are hard to find, but the words spoken by those people are easy. But what is difficult? It is difficult to find a faithful friend in this era of selfishness. Okay, in this world which is full of selfish people now, it is really extremely difficult to find a faithful friend. Who is a faithful friend? A faithful friend is a loyal friend who is our true friend. Okay, and it is extremely difficult to find such a friend. It's not necessary that you should have scores of friends around with you, but it is, even if you have one single friend and who is loyal to you, who is true to you and faithful to you, then you are that is the dearest possession which you can have, because a faithful friend is like a treasure for us. Okay, and we should treasure them throughout our lives, because it is rare, because they have become rare now, and it is difficult to find such a friend in this in this world which is full of selfish people, right? So like the wind is the simile used in this stanza. And what is another figure of speech which you people can spot in this stanza? Can anyone tell me? Yes, here. Okay. Om.
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Yes. What is what are the figures of speech which you can find in this stanza? One is simile I have told you, like the wind.
Ma'am, faithful friends are hard to find. Alliteration.
Yes, good. Faithful friends. Here, underline this, these two words, and write down alliteration has been used over here.
Ma'am,
So,
and
like,
here in third stanza there is a line, but if fortune once do frown, it is a personification.
no, we haven't reached there. Okay. Yes, that is a personification. You are right, but we haven't reached there. But no, you are using an old book home, so you must have seen. Yes, I get it. Okay. So I was asking only in this stanza. So faithful friend is your alliteration, and like the wind is simile. Right. Moving on to the next stanza. Let's read the next stanza now. Yes, he will read.
Every man will be thy friend, whilst thou hast wherewith to spend. But if store of crowns be scant, no man shall supply thy want.
The word, yes. So now the poet is telling us that everybody, all the people will be your friend. Thy means your. Till the time you have money to spend. Okay, till the time you have enough sufficient amount of money to spend on those flatterers. So they will be your friend. They will praise you for your quality of spending upon them, spending on them. But you know, as soon as you run out of money, if store of crowns be scant means scant first of all means less. So if this time means that as soon as you run out of money, as soon as you fall short of money, okay, and you don't have enough money to spend on those people, then no man shall supply thy want. Thy means your. So they will not help you out. Okay, they will not help you financially also. Although you have spent on them, but they are not going to come forward in order to help you out or to lend a helping hand for you in your time of needs, in your times of need, right? So here we can also associate this to our emotional degradation also, because we connect ourselves to these people. We think that they are our friends, but and we get emotionally attached. But you know, when we fall in problem, we land up in problem, then they leave us. Okay, so we stand emotionally degraded also, right? Because then they are no longer our friends and we are left alone, all alone to ourselves. So this is what these flatterers do. So till the time you have sufficient amount to spend on them, they will be your dearest friends. Okay, they will claim to be the best of your friends. But as soon as the money is lost, okay, you are out of your money, then they will just leave you like that, and they will not going to help you out, to support you in any way. Right. So third stanza, yes, Siddhi, you can read.
If that one be prodigal, bountiful they will him call, and with such like flattering, pity, but he were a king.
Yes. So if that one here, who is being referred to as that one? The person who spends. Okay, the person who is surrounded by fake friends, who is surrounded by flatterers. So if that person is prodigal, that means spendthrift, who spends freely without thinking. Okay, who spends unwisely, irrationally. So the person who spends without thinking about the future, so they call him, they here means in the next line, they means the flatterers. So the flatterers call him bountiful. They call him very generous and large-hearted people. Why? Because they tell, see, if you are with a true friend and you are spending without giving any thought to it, so your friend will be the one to stop you. He will control you that you should stop. Okay, you should save also for your future. But a flatterer will say that no, This is your best quality. You are so generous. You are so large-hearted that you're spending without even thinking. You are spending so generously. So this is what a flatterer will do, right? And they will use such, and they will go to such an extent that they will say, "Pity, but he were a king." They will say that we feel pity on you, that you should have been a king, since you possess all the qualities of the king, because only a king can spend such a huge amount so generously, so open-heartedly, right? So with such a free hand, right? And you are not a king, although you possess all the qualities of a king, but it's sad, and they regret the fact that you are not a king. So look at the exaggeration they make while flattering. So they they can even compare you to a king, right? So this is a flattery, straight simple flattery. Yes, Sanvi, read the next stanza.
But if fortune once do frown, then farewell his great renown. They that fawned on him before use his company no more.
Yes, so now it is being said that during all your good times, you will find such friends, you will find yourself surrounded by such fake people around you. They will always shower false praises on you. They will always speak good about you. All right, they will never speak anything which you will not find pleasant, right? Because they have some motive behind it. They have some hidden motive behind flattery. They are not doing it without any purpose. Nobody does that, right? So they have something or the other to get fulfilled, okay, which they think that you can do it. So yeah, they will always be with you. But as soon as bad luck hits, if fortune once do frown, means fortune means your luck, and it turns to bad, okay, it turns to worse. So what happens is that you will find yourselves alone. Farewell his great renown. His means here the poet is talking about a person who is surrounded by, again, fake friends, right? So he is using third person over here. Renown means fame. So when that person was spending a lot of money, he was being spendthrift, then he was made popular by the flatterers only. Okay, so when you are in your good times, okay, when your luck is at the highest, then these flatterers will make you so popular, and you will also feel that you are the popular face among them. But how? By using their flattery. But when the bad luck hits, all right, when you're difficult, when you're surrounded with difficult situations, when you're surrounded with problems, then these people leave you at once, and along with them your fame also goes away. Farewell means to bid goodbye, right? So when do you bid goodbye? When somebody goes away. So along with those flatterers, the fame also goes away. They who made you feel popular, right? By showering false praises. So as soon as they leave, their sweet words also leave, right? And they that fawned on him before use his company no more. So all those um, who used to be pleasant with that person, who used to be polite with him, who used to sought favor by flattery, right? On him before. Before means at what time? When he was during his good times, right? So he uses his company no more. That means they leave him, they abandon him as soon as they land into problem, right? Sanvi, you can read the next stanza.
He that is thy friend indeed, he will help thee in thy need. If thou sorrow, he will weep. If thou wake, he cannot sleep.
Okay. So Till now, the poet has told us the features of a flatterer, of a fake friend. But here in this stanza, he is telling us the features of a true friend, right? So now he is telling us how a true friend is, what a true friend is like. So he that is thy friend in need. So that means the person who is your friend, thy means again your, who is your friend indeed. That means in reality, who is your true friend, who is your friend undeniably. Okay, no matter what situation may be, but that friend will be with you always. Whether it is your good time or your bad time, whether in your happiness and in your sorrows, through all thicks and thins, you will always find the support of your friend. Okay, he will celebrate with you when you are happy, and he will again be sad with you when you are sad. Okay, when you are upset, and he or she will always try to make you happy, to make you feel uh, you know um, good when you are not feeling good. When you are low, that person will always try to cheer you up. So these are the features of a true friend. That is why it is said that he will help thee in thy need. If you remember, you must have read in the smaller classes this very popular line: a friend in need is a friend indeed. So a friend who helps you in need is your true friend, right? Because all the others, they will leave you as soon as you land up into problems. But your true friend will always be there with you. Your true friend will stick with you through all the times, right? It doesn't matter to your true friend whether you are having good time or you are having bad time, but what matters is you to your true friend, right? So he will be there with you if you are happy, and he will be there with you if you are sad also, right? And he will be there with you when you need them the most, when you need him the most. Okay, so when you are in need in any kind of help, you will find that they will always be there lending a helping hand to you. If thou sorrow, he will weep, means if you are sad, then your friend will also be sad. If you are grieved, then your friend will also be sorrowful. Weep here means cry, but do not take it in literal sense. It means that if you are in sorrow, then your friend will also feel sad. Okay, your friend will also not be able to enjoy his or her life, thinking, knowing that you are not happy, and you have some problem you are dealing with. Okay, and if thou awake, he cannot sleep. So if you are unable to sleep, if you are having sleepless nights because of your overthinking, or because you are sad because due to some reason, so he also cannot have a peaceful sleep because he is also worried. Okay, so your friend suffers as though it is his or her own suffering. So when you are sorrowful, your friend is also going through it along with you. If he or she cannot help you in any way, then the least which a friend will do is to share your sorrow, right? So this is the most, this is also, an important thing, to have somebody to share your sorrows and griefs, because everybody can be the part of your happiness, of your good times, but very few can be the part of your sorrow. Okay, people feel bored and they just leave you away, leave you alone, but only a true friend will be there with you throughout. Fine. And let us read the last stanza now. Yes, Om.
Yes, ma'am. Thus of every grief in hurt, he with thee both bear a part. These are certain signs to know faithful friend from flattering fellow foe.
Yes. So now what is being said in this last stanza, the poet has concluded or summarized the whole of the poem. All right. And the title of the poem was also justified when we read the last stanza, because here he is saying in these last two words, faithful friend from flattering foe. Right. So the poem also started with the title Friends and Flatterers, and here in the end also we find these two words. So he is saying that if of every grieving heart, okay, if you have grief, if you have some sadness, if you have some sorrow, then your friend will also bear a part of it. Okay, he will share that sorrow. Bear a part means to carry the burden of your sorrow. Okay, he'll always be there to share your sorrow in order to reduce it. Right? Happiness increases on sharing and sadness decreases on sharing. Fine. So your friend will be there to carry the burden of your sorrow with him. Okay, in order to reduce your burden. Then these are the signs, these are the certain indicators. Okay, the poet has listed these indicators for us to know that to differentiate between a true friend and a flatterer, so that we can save ourselves from getting deceived, okay, from getting cheated by fake friends. So these are the certain signs which the poet wants us to know, that that differentiates between a faithful friend. Okay, so the word which is used with a friend, for a friend, is faithful, true, loyal, okay, honest, from flattering foe. And for flatterer, the poet has used the word foe. Foe means enemy. So a flatterer is a person who deceives us using his fake words, using his false phrases. So he is no less than an enemy for us, right? Because he is not true to us, he is not sincere enough, right? Whereas our faithful friend, though he can be a little rude at times, though he can, his words can, we can find his or her words to be unpleasant at times, but they are always for our own good. Okay, they do not want us to land into trouble. They do not want us to be made fun of. That is why our friends, sometimes they scold us also. They keep a check on us, right? So they are always, you will never find that a friend is always speaking sweetly and nicely with you, melodiously, like a flatterer does. So the poet has used this word enemy for flatterers because they deceive us. Okay, they are not true. They cheat us. They are dishonest. Fine. So this is the thing which we should know about a friend and a flatterer as well. The poet has listed the characteristics of both the friends also and the flatterers also, so that it is easy for us to differentiate between both of them. Okay, so this was a good poem, full of message and insight, gives us an insight so that we can be alert and vigilant while choosing our friends. I hope you people have understood. And here we also finish our syllabus for the test 4. So now if you have any problem, you may raise your hands. Now before that, I want you people to underline some lines. Come to third stanza, second line. Bountiful they will him call. Then in the next stanza, second line, then farewell his great renown. And on page number 61, first line, use his company no more. So in these 3 lines, the poet has used a figure of speech which is known as inversion. 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 So what is an inversion? It is a figure of speech in which the order of words in a sentence is changed. To make words rhyme and to create special effects. So, by the poet, some words are jumbled in a sentence so that in order to keep up the rhythmic effect in the poem. Right? So that figure of speech is known as inversion. And page number 60, last paragraph. But if fortune once do frown, here personification is used. Last line also, page number 61, faithful friends from flattering foe, alliteration. You people are now capable to spot alliteration, I think. Yes. Again on page number 60, second paragraph, whilst and wherewith, alliteration. Yes, these are some of the figures of speech used in this poem. Now, if you have any doubt, any query, you can ask. Yes, Kritika.
Ma'am, what is the meaning of scant?
Scant means less.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else? So I hope then all of you have understood the poem. I hope you all have noted down the explanation as well, because it will help you in writing your answers, writing down the answers. Right?